Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Club. This is the place everyday real estate investors gather to share their best stories, biggest insights, and favorite tactics to grow a portfolio of cash-flowing properties in today's market. Here's your host, Gabe Peterson.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have Joe Moffett with us from Idaho up here in the Pacific Northwest. Gotta love our Pacific Northwesterners. Surprisingly, we do not have a lot of us on the show, so I'm glad you're here to represent us, Joe. Joe is a peak performance coach as well as a real estate investor, does all sorts of things, short-term rentals, self-storage, limited partner, development, and co-living. So there's a lot to go into on this episode. So Joe, thank you very much for hopping on.
I appreciate you having me. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. I told you before we got on here, we like to start with stories. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story? How'd you get started in real estate?
Yeah. I guess a little backstory real quick. I once I graduated high school, I didn't know what I wanted to be. So I joined the United States Marine Corps, did 5 years in the Corps, traveled all around the world, did a tour over in Iraq, and then got involved in network marketing as soon as I got out. And that's where I started learning about personal development and just fell in love with it. Learned that the more I help other people succeed, the more that I would succeed. And so after a while, I became a professional coach. I started with Tony Robbins and had a lot of fun there. And then I went on my own. My wife and I, we started our own company called Master Life by Design. And probably about 3 or 4 years ago, we started just naturally coaching people who were in the real estate space. And, you know, they wanted passive income. They wanted to create financial freedom. And so we helped them. And we started watching all of our clients create financial freedom through real estate. And we're like, we have passive income through our business and other means, but we're like, we should start investing ourselves. And so it was probably about 3.5 years ago, we started investing and getting into the real estate game and really just playing the part instead of just coaching people around it. So it's probably about 3 years ago. Yeah.
Right on, man. Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can watch these big checks across the table and then be like, you know, these guys aren't any smarter than I am. I'm sure I can do this too. So that's awesome. So you got started in as a peak performance coach. Don't often have you guys on here, so it'll be interesting to hear what you say. And then you got into real estate. When it came to the real estate side, what was the first few acquisitions that you did? How did you actually get started in real estate?
Yeah, so the first thing was we helped invest in a flipping company, a startup house flipping company. We did not know anything about flipping. Like, don't get me wrong, we knew in theory in our head, right? Like, it's great to consume knowledge, but the practicality is a lot different, right? And to actually go in and do a flip. And so we just thought, hey, we know someone that has done it and done it many, many times. So why don't we help them invest and get the ball rolling there? And we can learn as we go. And so we first started that, and we're pretty much hands off. We don't have to do anything, right? But then we're like, okay, now we got to get our feet wet, and that's where we went and got our first short-term rental. It's about 2 hours from us here in the Boise, Idaho area. We got one in the mountains, it's great because we get to take our boys. We have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old that we get to take up there when it's not getting rented out in this winter, when there's like 2 feet, 3 feet of snow. They get to have that experience, and we get to teach our kids, like, this is an asset for our family, and they get to actually experience that. And so it's cool. My 5-year-old already knows what an asset and a liability is. So pretty cool. So that was like our very first is our short-term rental up there.
Very cool. Yeah. I feel like that's, I got started in wholesales and flips, and I feel like a short-term rental is a good way to get started. And I wish I would have done that myself, because you can buy it in a place that you actually want to stay. And so you really see it through the eyes of your customer. And then you have a place that you can actually use. You can go out there and use it when you want. Yep. Where'd you guys end up buying that?
It's in McCall, Idaho.
Oh, okay. So kind of in your neck of the woods, you didn't venture off too far.
2 hours. Yeah. Okay. Just enough where we won't make the drive all the time if something went wrong up there. And if something's really bad, we got to go up there, then we will.
Yeah, I feel like the 2 hour drive mark is the perfect distance for an investment because you can still get there, but you don't feel like you need to go out there every single day because you still have to make a 2 hour drive. You did good there. So once you did that short term rental, you started venturing out. It sounds like you did not. It sounds like you did not just stay in one lane. You didn't stay with the short term rental. You went to development and then to, it sounds like, co living. What made you decide to make that switch and venture out into different strategies?
Great question. I'm in a mastermind group called GoBundance. I don't know if you've heard of it, but had some guys in there that I knew and connected with, and actually we became a partner in a self-storage deal that they found. And so I have a good buddy out here, AJ Osborne, and I speak at his events, and so I know a little bit about self-storage, but again, never took one down myself. So I was like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to dive in. And so we did that. And then yesterday, actually, we just closed on land.
Cool.
We're going to start developing out there, and it's about 45 minutes from us. So we're going to start doing some land development, and
what are you guys developing? Is it residential, or you
yeah,
is it self-storage
yeah.
as well? Oh, it's residential.
Yeah, residential. We're building we think right now at this point we're gonna build a barn dominium short-term rental, and then maybe even
you're building a barn dominium. So you're not converting a barn into a barn dominium, but you're building one.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I just learned about barn dominiums probably about like 3 months ago, and a couple of my friends are actually building some, and I started looking on Instagram, and I was like, wow, these are pretty cool. Yeah. So and it would be cool for our kids to have that experience. It's more out in the country, so a different pace of life because we're in the hustle and grind all day, Monday through Friday. So if we have an opening, we'll be able to jump up there. But we're also thinking about, since it's over 2 acres, we can put a couple maybe tiny homes on there and short-term rental those out, or could be an office where we're up there. Still mapping it out, but that's the game plan now because there's not much in that area, and a lot of people are starting to venture out there. So we want to be ahead of the curve, or at least that's what we try to do. So
yeah, I love those concepts with the massive high ceilings and the wide open spaces. I've seen old firehouses turned into single family, and I've seen barns turned into single family, and I feel like they end up being really crisp and clean looking houses that be a great short-term rental, long-term as well. But it's a great concept. I like that you guys are going with that.
Pretty cool.
Awesome. So you're developing it. This is your first time going through it. How has it been for you? I know development, a lot of people, it just kind of, they gain some gray hairs and even lose some hair. How's the experience been so far?
So we had our eye on 2 lots in this area, and we actually invited friends up the day after we went and looked at it. We went up there twice, me and my wife, and we're like, oh man, we like both lots. We could see a lot of great things in both of them. And we invited 2 other families to come up and see if they want to kind of play in the game too. And we're like, well, we got to pick our lot. And I got a crash course in about 12 hours on how to read schematics, land, talk about leach fields, septics, how far they got to be apart, secondary, septics. And I'm just like, okay, I'm getting a crash course here. So, but it was great because that helped us identify, like, if we were going to have to put a septic in a certain location where we wanted to put the house, we wouldn't be able to do that. And so I got a quick crash course, so I'm learning, not too much. My thing is, this is the way I look at it, and I do a lot of mindset coaching for people, as I said, is you're never going to truly understand and learn until you actually do it. It's like trying to experience what it's like to raise children you just got to go do it. Right. And that's how I feel. A lot of times people get so caught up in learning and reading and trying to, what if this happens? And what if this happens? I'm all about mitigating risk, but I'm also like, hey, you got to put one foot in front of the other and take a step. And so we're getting a crash course, but it's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah.
The bill comes in.
There's a lot of creativity when it comes to development. And so I'm sure you guys are really enjoying it. And I 100% agree. If you want to do something get some education, learn a little bit, but then just go out there and do it, because there is no teacher like experience. And sometimes you will get hit in the face, but it's the name of the game. You got to take those on the chin and keep walking forward.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's talk about this. The last, I do want to ask a little bit about your peak performance company that you got. But before we go into that, let's talk about the last strategy that you guys are doing, co-living. This is kind of a new concept. I mean, obviously it's not a new concept. They've been doing this forever, but in terms of its own unique strategy, it's not something that really I feel like it's been gaining traction recently. So take us through the strategy. What made you decide that it was a good idea? And then how'd you go about, executing your first deal?
Yeah. So I told you guys I was part of Go Abundance, a mastermind there. And on my YouTube channel, Master Life by Design, what I do is I interview 7-figure entrepreneurs that create passive income. And so I interviewed one of the guys in my mastermind. His name was Sam Weger, and he teaches co-living. I never heard of it until I interviewed him. And after I interviewed him, I was like, this is a really unique strategy, especially in this market. If your primary focus is cash flow and you're not afraid of doing some work, with rates as high as they are, it can work. And so I shared it with my wife. I was like, babe, you got to watch this interview. And she watched it and she got fired up because she saw how, you can look on the MLS, and if you might have an off-market deal brought to you, if you're going to stick a renter in there, you might cash flow $100, $200 a door in some cases. Brandon Turner talks about that a lot. But we were like, man, we can cash flow $2,000, $2,500 a month. We just got to buy the deal right. And so we started jumping in. We actually made a commitment with my buddy Sam. We do the peak performance coaching in his company, and we get to partake in their co-living strategies and learning and partner with people and stuff like that and get educated. So we've identified some markets. We're looking actually to do some off-market cold calls for off-market deals, because the things on the MLS are just a little tight right now until things start to shift. But yeah, it's exciting. We had one that we thought, but it just last minute things didn't pan out. So we're back to getting after off-market deals.
Yeah, I mean that's the name of the game in this market. I feel like sellers still want that 3% interest price point, but interest rates are a lot higher, so it's really difficult to get the two expectations to align. But you got to keep going at it. So co-living, I mean, it really depends. The strategy only works out when you really have the perfect location. What is your guys' strategy for finding that type of location? Are you just looking around? Maybe hospitals, universities? What are you looking for there?
Great question. We're trying to remain within 30 to 40 minutes of like a major city, out a little bit, because we're targeting young professionals that would love, because in co-living, what we're doing is actually we're adding more bedrooms to the house, and maybe even an extra bath or two, depending on the house. So you could have anywhere from 8 to 12 rooms, depending on the size of the home. And so these are young professionals.
And you're renting out each individual room to a renter.
Yes. We're renting out each one to a renter. I got exposed to something like this around colleges about a decade ago. I never took advantage. Now I'm kicking myself in the butt at a real estate conference I went to, but I was like, that's a brilliant move. But what we're doing with co-living is so much more detailed, the way that they run it. Pad splits out there. A lot of people are listening. You probably heard of pad split, but they're taking 30, 35% versus where we're able to do 5 to maybe 10% max for property management on those. So I'll take that all day long.
Nice, man. Well, I hope you guys find a good one soon. And because once you get a good strategy and you're excited about it, it's always disappointing when the deal doesn't just plop into your lap. But that is real estate. All right, so I'm going to move us on to the last. Well, before we go to the quick question round, I do want to ask about your peak performance coaching company. That is something that you and your wife, you said you guys started your company. What is it that you guys do? And then what are the main obstacles that you see investors specifically run into that they need to overcome to reach the goals that they're looking at? Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, great question. So I love a quote that Tony Robbins says. He says, everything is 80% psychology, 20% strategy. And that's where we focus, is on the 80%, because, I'm sure, Gabe, you found that you find a great deal, you're raising capital, and someone's like, they look at the numbers that you provide and they're like, this is a home run deal. And it's a no brainer to invest, but then they're afraid to let go and wire that 100 or 200K. Well, why is that? What's happening up here that's putting the emergency brake on for you to not go forward with this, because you're going to get some incredible returns? Or an investor who finds a great deal, they run the numbers and they're afraid to submit an LOI or put in an offer. Like, why is that? What is the reason where they're on the gas and the brake at the same time? And that's where we focus, is really unpacking that and peeling those layers back. Because what happens is we kind of put these, like, if you're on a highway and you had a road barrier every 20 feet, you had to swerve left and right between them, it's going to take you a while to get you to your destination. But if we can remove those barriers out of the way, you can accelerate to your end goal a lot faster. So many investors, they have these imaginary barriers in their mind that prevent them from actually accelerating to the path of financial freedom, or whatever their goal is, but usually a lot are going at their financial freedom. And so we help remove those mental roadblocks so that they can go a lot faster. And so it's fun when you get to work on people one-on-one, work with people one-on-one, and see the breakthroughs and the ahas and the light bulbs go off for them. And then when they come back and they're like, hey, I appreciate that. I'm cash flowing $2,500 a month more now because of that deal. It's like so cool to watch. So it's fun.
Cool. I love it. All right, I'm going to take that opportunity and move us into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Do it.
Let's do it. It starts with education. I need 2 recommendations. It could be any form of content, books, magazines, YouTube channels, whatever. Give me 2 of them, one for general life wisdom and then one for real estate or business specific.
All right. For life, I have to go to Tony Robbins. His Unleash the Power Within event is really powerful for those that are just trying to understand the psychology and how to overcome fears and all that. I think that really, when I was starting my path to personal development, it really unlocked a lot for me. It shifted. I could go into much detail, but we don't have time. And then as far as business, I will say, a book that really helped me along my real estate investing is David Green's book, Long Distance Real Estate Investing. It just broke down the mental barriers for me that said, oh, I can only invest right where I am. Why can't I invest down, 5 states over or across the country? Why not? It's like when people, invest in deals with you, you're doing the work for them more than likely, but you have this belief or beliefs about why you can invest at a distance and how you have your T's crossed and your I's dotted systems and all that. So that book really broke a lot of paradigms for me. So I recommend that.
Cool. Yeah, that is a good recommendation. And it's the first time that it's been recommended on this show. So I love to hear new things. So, all right, moving on to the next question. And this is for your younger self. So let's go back to the Joe who had no experience in real estate. He was just getting out of the core however many years ago. Go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
Find someone in the real estate world that I feel like aligns with my values and morals, and tell them I would work for them for free for 3 months, a month to 3 months, and prove myself. And And in exchange, obviously, if I do a good job, I would ask that person for a job and learn every facet of the business that I possibly could. And I would just bust my butt for a couple of years learning every area and then being able to take that on my own. And that if I would have done that 15 years ago, I'd be in a completely different place right now.
Yeah, it's amazing how much mentorship can get you so much farther down the road than just going it alone. It's the way I wish that I'd gotten a mentor a lot earlier in my career. So great advice. Learning from somebody who actually knows what they're doing is invaluable. I'm going to move us to the next question, and this is about the U.S. It is a big place, a lot of opportunity out there. Give me the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
It's a tough one, but I'll say the Arizona area, like Phoenix area, only because we have a lot of boots on the ground there, and it's a short flight for us. And I see the growth there. I know it's kind of taking a little hit right now, but long term, I feel like the ability to invest there is going to be worth it long term. People are still hitting home runs right now, but things are a little bit tighter now with the way rates are and everything. But yeah, that's where we're excited about.
Yeah, I can't remember which guest it was, but somebody we had on this podcast earlier, they said that the Phoenix market is the market that has the biggest swings in values. It's like, goes way up, way down, way up, way down. I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know why that is, but that is what it is, which can be good because it means there's more opportunities to buy low and sell high. So,
and everything's patterns. And if you can see the patterns and the swings, everything's cyclical. You can do that. You're never going to time the market, but if you're in it for the long run, and I teach a concept called an infinite mindset, you just learn those patterns and you're in it for the long game. And all of a sudden you can take advantage of it and win over the long period of time. So yeah.
There you go. All right, next question is about finding deals. It all starts with getting in contact with the seller. So what is your favorite way to generate leads and find good deals?
I just made a video on this for my channel yesterday. Two ways. One is networking. I'm very outgoing. I'm very gregarious. I love talking to people. So the ability to network and reach out, find out how I can help other people and let them know what I'm looking for, especially agents, or even mailmen, right? They're driving around looking at houses. But if we're at a distance here, cold calling is the biggest thing right now, right? Finding lists that meet our criteria. And then we actually have a friend of ours who has a system where he could take a 5,000 person list, and based on like 12 different metrics, he can siphon that down to maybe, I don't know, it varies, but 450 names where they're going to pick up within one or two calls. And so you hit those 450 a lot faster. So those are the two ways for us.
Well, yeah, cold calling is it's the tried and true, always works. Definitely, if you're doing it yourself, it takes a lot more time, but it's a solid strategy to go after. All right, next question is about lessons learned. Not every deal goes the way we expect it. Sometimes things come out of the right field and hit you in the face. So what is the biggest lesson learned through a deal kind of gone sideways?
Make sure you have multiple exit strategies and not just the one you think you're going to have, because like you said, things go sideways. And so we caught ourselves in a situation where we had one exit strategy, and I could have thought that through more, but for whatever reason, I didn't. So,
yeah, no, that again, that is I feel like that's the first time somebody's answered it that way. And I feel like that is a very good response because, let's give it an example. Say you underwrite a property as a short-term rental, and then for some reason it doesn't pan out as a short-term rental. If you had the second exit strategy as long-term, renting it out as a long-term, you can, and it's still, cash flowed, then you can just pivot, rent it out long-term and still make a little bit of money there. But you have to have that foresight going into it, thinking, I'm going to hit a slam dunk as a short term, but if that doesn't go the way that I want it, we still have the option of renting it out as a long term. So love that. Have different exit strategies. Make sure that there's multiple ways that you can make the deal win if one doesn't go your way.
Yep.
All right. And that leads us to the very last question. This is for the listeners. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you, maybe learn a little bit more about your guys' peak performance program. So what is the best way for people to reach out? And then what can they expect when they do?
Yeah, you can reach out at masterlifebydesign.com. You can shoot us an email there, or you can check us out on YouTube at Master Life by Design. So check it out there. And what they can expect is, we help people create financial freedom through passive income and mindset. And so you guys are learning through Gabe right now, which is awesome, and stay plugged in here. And we like to bring the mindset into it. And so if people are interested in working with my wife or I one-on-one, we're available. And we also have coaches on our team that work for us that could be able to help you too. So there we go.
Perfect. I love it. All right. And I will put that link in the show notes, masterlifebydesign.com. All you got to do is just click a little more in the description. It'll pull down the full description. In there, you can find Joe's link. All right, Joe, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. For everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me, Gabe, at therealestateinvestingclub.com. And if you guys want to support the show, as always, just give us a like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.